Unicorn Warrior, Season 1, Episode 6. Gosh, so many Easter eggs to talk about, from previous Genndy shows to even Star Wars. It's such a good episode. We're going to jump into it. Welcome back. My name is Nick. I have Britt here with me, cha.cha.cherry on Instagram. She's a really talented photographer, but we're just going to dive into this. We've been covering this show since episode 1. We covered Primal through the whole season, season 2 on HBO Max, and every comment is entered to win a shirt from the bestnerdyshirts.com. So place your comments throughout the videos and stuff, but we're going to talk about some cool Easter eggs. Britt, what was the first Easter egg you saw?
What do you think of my favorite, my obsession, Bang,
from Primal.
You immediately.
Yeah.
Yes, from Primal. I'm so excited.
Yeah, really cool. And it was so much fun too, because I was talking to Kyle. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool to do a Fang shirt in the style of Unicorn Warriors? I literally said that to him, and then this episode we got a Fang in the style of Unicorn Warriors. Like,
well, now do you do it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's copyright now.
Oh, yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah, it would be a problem for us, the little guy. Anyways, another big reference I saw was Star Wars. So when the hot air balloon was flying into the Death Star, basically, it was a circle globe ship. And the way it goes in, it was the same way the Millennium Falcon like went in for the first time when it like landed and everything. I was just like, no way. And then what is another Star Wars reference was them carrying Copernicus in a backpack. I'm like, that was Chewbacca carrying C-3PO. I was like, that's another Star Wars reference. That's so cool. So I was like, Star Wars, we get
golden
Primal.
Robot, super
Golden
intelligent,
robot,
ton of data. Just this one doesn't talk.
What's going on? Turn round. Chewbacca, I can't see.
So I just thought that was like so much fun.
Maybe he will talk though after he comes back, which I'm pretty sure they're going to bring him back. But
yeah, but it's very interesting. So it's really playing on time travel in this episode.
Yes,
Copernicus has to be fixed in order for him to come back to the past to start the whole thing. So it's this journey of the building of Copernicus almost. It's almost like maybe this is like where the loop starts to happen, and this sends it back
Jack.
And stuff like that. It's the never-ending infinity loop.
Samurai Jack. Yeah, but time travel is such a hard thing to do in a cool way.
I mean,
like minus Hiro Makodore that we love in Heroes.
Yeah,
it's just a really, really difficult thing to make it cool. It normally turns out pretty cheesy, and I think it's because the theory is so difficult for us to understand, and the whole butterfly effect. And I'm like, that it just gets corny, but Genndy just knows how to make everything cool and fun.
As long as it stays simple, it's going to stay doable.
Right.
If it's back to the future, or if it's like Futurama when Fry goes back in time, as long as it stays simple, like whatever you do in the past will affect the future, and the future will affect the past because of time travel. As long as it stays simple, we should be okay.
I have a question. Is it actually time travel, or is he doing a multi-universe thing? Is it just one timeline, or is it kind of a multiverse?
Well, I'm guessing it's just time travel on the same linear line, because Copernicus has to be fixed to go back to the beginning of the timeline.
Okay.
Like the way this all started. Because remember, in the very first episode, they come from the future. Merlin comes with Copernicus. He's like, we're gonna have to do this endless loop. It's almost like Back to the Future when Doc comes in. Marty, we got to do this, Marty. It's like, it's like Marty.
Comes I'm wearing Rick and Morty, right?
Oh yeah, Rick and Morty. Yeah, that would also be perfect. Yeah, Rick and Morty too. That's a cool shirt. Rick and Morty. It's very much that. And we got introduced to a new character too, the robot builder. I can't remember his name, but we know that he's the one building the robots that was working with the Fox at the beginning that dug up Copernicus.
Yes.
So did he change sides? Did he rebuild Copernicus with a thing inside that he's going to be able to control him?
Time travel, the butterfly effect.
We'll see. We will definitely see. It's really cool. But one thing we have to talk about, a picture you sent me was Alfie through the time travel space, and you were just like, I love this color scheme.
I said, this is going to be the look of my summer. Like, I need this all over my place. We're going to do a Primal theme over here. We're going to do Unicorn Warrior theme over there.
That's so funny. Brittany just moved, so she's super excited to get going and start painting walls, knocking down walls. Just don't tell the landlord. No.
I want to do a catwalk really bad.
Wow.
Around. So
At Catwalk.
like,
you heard it here first. Go on Instagram. So if you're interested in our updates, go follow her on Instagram. We probably won't be doing them here unless it's during the video, but just if you want to know house updates, go check that out. And then we also have a lot of backstory on Dimitri with his family. So I'm guessing his family has to do with the magic aspect of Copernicus.
Yeah, because he was pretty non-talkative and withholding information, like a total douche. That was not cool,
but
bro.
Some amazing,
and very obvious.
Yeah,
like, his facial expressions were very kiddie. Like, okay, you kind of look like a puppy being.
Oh, I loved his facial expressions big time throughout this whole episode. Even when he wants to like talk to Melinda, he doesn't know. He's kind of like doing the thing like, do I? I don't know if this is the right time, kind of thing. So it was perfect timing, great animation. The walk cycles at the beginning too with the police were amazing. Like the animation style with the walk cycles of them kind of flopping around doing their thing was just so incredible.
The whole style of this show is becoming more and more attractive to me. That like at first you have to get a little used to it because it's not as fluid like we mentioned before. It's not as like it's not samurai. It's not Primal. There's something like it's a strange trot of a cut to me, but the more I watch it, the more I really seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the over the top animation with the poses and the weight and the timing. You can just really see the weight of characters too, like when they're like flopping around and walking. Even like the sailor who definitely looked like Popeye. I mean, we were talking about like, olive oil Popeye styles in like 1920s. Like if the pirate went, I'm like, that would have been so funny if we just would have got a clean Popeye reference, or he had a can of spinach somewhere. That would have been like over the top. Like, this is so cool that he's kind of tapping into that realm.
Even when you were in school, when you were learning animation, you've always had this attachment to like the bong bong kind of rhythm. I remember you even like explaining when you're starting to draw, like you like that weighty kind of drop.
Yeah, weight kind of adds life and character. I mean, because depending on the character, if they're hurt, if they're not hurt, if they're heavier, if they're thin or they're light, the weight of how they move is going to be different. And it's actually really cool. If you got, I know this is animation in general, but you can look at Pixar walk cycles. So what they do is before they even start animating the show or the movies and stuff like that, they come up with a walk cycle for these characters, because everyone has to have a unique walk. And there's some from the Incredibles that are just incredible, like basically a Miss Incredible and the way her hips move compared to Mr. Incredible, and like and even Violet, she has like that really like pitter patter walk, and then Dash has that kind of like, you can totally tell he's like a runner kind of walk.
Like Po would be a really good example of that too, from Kung Fu. Panda.
Beautiful walk cycles. Then you have tigress, mantis, you have monkey, and like all, but obviously those are like animals, but even like the subtlety of every human just walking differently and stuff like that. It's I mean, look at Buzz and Woody. Woody's very much floppy. They his arms almost like wave behind him like Naruto when he runs, because they're just like, there's no muscles or bones in the structure. It's so cool. And Genndy knocks it out of the park. The animators knock it out of the park in this show. It's a beautiful show. So we didn't get too much on Melinda.
Because we had so much of Melinda before, and this can't just all be about Melinda.
But I mean, she was leading the pack on this episode. She was like, no, we got to fix Copernicus. She was, like moving it, where Dimitri's kind of just like doing his own thing, and then Alfie was in the backpack too. It's just like being carried around.
Oh my god, both of them just being like lugged around.
Yeah. And we got a little bit of info on the fox. The fox, she knows she's betrayed. I believe the fox is Melinda's mother. in
Oh, for
in a
sure.
shape form.
Yeah.
We haven't got 100% confirmation, but that's what I believe. And at first I thought the pirate was Merlin in disguise.
Oh.
I thought at first he was trying to reveal the fox's location kind of thing, like he like did a like a he transformed himself to look like a pirate, but obviously he was paid off by someone to do that.
Yeah.
It's episode 6. There's only 4 left.
Right,
This
right.
is not fair that we're only getting 10 episodes to this
I
show.
know. I'm just waiting for
It's
him to go dark because all of his stories are like dark and like hits home. Like you just know you're on the edge of your seat to like, okay, I know you're going to make me cry soon. So where are you going to make me cry? Who are you? Who do you feel like you're the most attached to out of all the characters?
oh well, my favorite character is probably Alfie. I really
Yeah,
like
same.
Alfie a lot, but I do like Dimitri. He's growing on me every episode, and like because at first he's like this stern, like he knows what he's
Blue
doing.
Man
Like when
Group.
when you first meet him, he kind of has like, no, we're heroes, we're this, and now he's he's getting into his own head. I don't know if it's because he's not able to be with Melinda, and like he's missing that aspect where he needs a
Well, what guy
relationship
likes to
and.
be in a love triangle, especially over a span of time?
That's funny. That's true. And then we didn't get anything on Winston, which I wanted to get a follow up with the werewolf thing, but that might be maybe season finale. Will come back in and he'll save Melinda or be a part of the saving where it throws us back into that triangle, the whole love triangle kind
Yeah.
of thing. So
What I find really different about Unicorn versus Primal is that there's so many characters too. It is harder to develop this. Like when in Primal, you were stuck with Fang and Spear for so
yep,
long, and you were slowly introduced to these different characters in the
yeah,
world. With this one, you were just hit with like bam, a ton. Kind of like Samurai, I guess. Compared to Powerpuff Girls, you have like a smaller group of characters.
mm,
Dexter's Lab, you have a smaller group of characters. This one's just like there's so much to absorb, so much
yeah,
color, so many different scenes, so many different people and
yeah,
personalities that I'm curious to see how he reels it into
mm,
a focused point
yeah.
because there's so much going on.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I really appreciate shows like this is being in a new location every episode.
Yeah.
So they're not like recycling backgrounds, like which it becomes a common thing in animations, like SpongeBob. They can recycle a lot of the establishing
Disney.
shots with like his house and Krabby Patty because he has this job and this
Yeah.
routine he goes to, right? Or if you get a show like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where they're constantly flying on Appa to new locations where you have to design new cultures and new house designs, and it's just and I love shows
Does
like
that
that.
have
I'm a
to
huge
reflect on
fan.
the technology though? Because we have so much more technology to help us
No,
accomplish more.
it's due to the creative, like the writer
Mm.
or the producer. It's what they want for a series, right? And if they're allowed to, if the budget allows for them to be able to have new places and stuff like that, maybe that's why there's only 10 episodes because he's like, I really want to explore different places and stuff. So they're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, if we're not recycling, blah blah blah, we can only afford a 10 episode thing instead of a 15 or whatever the deals are with the negotiations. Because if you only could get a budget for so much, then you only could put that
Right.
budget towards certain things. So it becomes that's why certain producers are good because then they can manage the money and how
Oh,
everything
for
needs
sure.
to
So
go and
what's
stuff.
Disney's issue? Because when you look at like Sword of the Stones walk cycle to like what was the Jungle Book, it's like the same.
Oh, the
They,
recycled animation. Well, that was
and they're like they're the kings of
yeah,
that. They're,
yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're the masters of that.
Well, yeah,
All the
they definitely
princesses.
done that, and that happened
Mhm.
after Walt died. Because after Walt died,
Oh,
they were kind of like in this rut, right? And that's when
mhm.
like they would look at a new animation like Aristocats and like what can we take from an old animation because they have all these old drawings still. So they're like, how can we save money and budget at the same time? So
But
they
that's
would
a
look.
creative thing. That's not a technical thing because they still had to redraw all of that, right?
Well, but you already it saves you the figuring out the weight and the timing and the posing and stuff. But that's why
The
like
storyboard.
it's a bear in Baloo. It's basically the same character for the bear, and then like when they're dancing, one of the scenes when they're dancing, it's taken straight from Snow White when Snow White's dancing with the seven dwarves, but then it's the dog
Wow.
with the chicken. So it's like they obviously
And kids
with
aren't
the
gonna
heights and stuff,
notice.
but no, and especially at the time their movies weren't on television, they weren't on a streaming service. They weren't anywhere. You were only able to see them in theaters. And then finally they started releasing these things on VHS tape. But it would be like once a year they would release something out of the vault, release it out of the vault. But at the time you wouldn't notice too, because like you would watch it in theaters, but then it's not like you are able to compare like we do now. So
any other predictions
for this show? I think by the end of the season we're gonna get revealed that Melinda's mom's the big bad, or is Melinda the big bad and the mom's trying to stop the evil. So it might be like a flip like that, but we're gonna get like I am your mother instead of I am your father kind of maybe moment. With the
and then there's her husband. Oh gosh,
Merlin.
No. Melinda's Emma's
Winston, the werewolf.
Yeah.
Yes. He's definitely going to come back probably by the end of the season to save Melinda.
You think he'll end up being one of the main villains?
No, I don't know if he'll become a villain, but I think he'll do something to save Melinda. So the love triangle will continue to the next season, if there is another season.
There has to be. There's no way they can wrap this story up that quick.
And I think maybe Copernicus, that's part of the ending, him being rebuilt. I don't know if we're going to see him fully rebuilt to the end. Because think about it, we only have 4 episodes left. So, I mean, timing wise, they might leave him to go get fixed and they go on an adventure. And then they come back and then it's the end. So we have a lot to figure out. It's a little
Alphonse too.
Yeah.
So within the machine, maybe it's like someone's brother. Then they try to bring some family member back to life, and that's how in the story he ends up getting a soul, and that's why he can't figure it out. Maybe it's him. It's the inventor's soul from the future, like Alphonse.
Copernicus. I like that. Alphonse. Yeah,
that's
we're
his
going
name being a Full Metal Alchemist
Full
fan.
Metal Alchemist here. Yeah. And then pride and gluttony and then lust and then all the 7 deadly sins are gonna come out of nowhere.
Oh my god, no. Wrath was
pride,
my favorite. And
then,
then,
pride with the child
envy.
with all the eyes. Yeah, envy.
Pride was like just too serious.
And on that note, tell us down below what your predictions are, what you think's gonna happen. I know we kind of sidetracked in this episode, but we just like to keep it free form and talking. We don't really come with notes. We just watch the episodes and we talk about them, and it's super fun here.
Yeah, or what reminds you of other great shows and stories.
That's another good. Yeah, put that down. Go to Instagram, follow Britt, cha.cha.terry on Instagram. She's an awesome photographer. Go check her out. And remember, every comment is entered to win a shirt at the beginning. At the end of the month, we will pick a winner from the bestnerdyshirts.com. So you'll get a shirt from the Best Nerdy Shirts. We do our live stream the first Tuesday of every month to announce the winner. So subscribe to get all the updates, and we'll see you on the next AsArt.
I gotta come up with like a unicorn warrior sign off. I can't do like bang.
You got to do like whistles and hoots like Copernicus.